Hello, I'm going to talk to you. I'm going to take my mask off. This is post-COVID. I can't really communicate effectively with the mask on. As you can see, I'm going to wear a bandana, a mask, and a head protector. Me, I do not need a head protector. I prefer not to use a mask, but I don't want to put myself in a position in talking about how we're going to open post-COVID. That is the topic of today at Nataz restaurant. Hi everybody, thanks for coming, thanks for checking us out. We appreciate the likes, we appreciate the subscriptions. I can't tell you how interesting it is to see myself on the camera, but literally put across the fact of what we're doing here and the interest that we have. We have the gloves, we have the buckets, and then we have the disinfectant, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to walk you through what we're going to consider our post-COVID opening. So what we're doing, so follow me, we're going to walk through the restaurant, take you a little bit through, and explain to you what we think post-COVID is going to look like at Nataz. That could change on a whim. I'm looking forward to opening back up, and I know you are too. So that's if you know us. If you're like in Japan, you probably could care less. But just so you know, or our favorite people out there in the Philippines, if you need to know, this is what we're going to do, and we hope that some other people can learn from us, because some of the stuff that we're doing, we've always done. Come on, follow me. So this is one aspect that we're doing. It's social distancing or keeping it. I think it's extreme. My future son-in-law, I'd like to say that to you straight up, Nick. My future son-in-law thought that this is potentially a great, it was really about protecting my daughter, which I thought was adorable. But this goes a little bit farther than I would see it being, is a physical barrier between us and the customer. I understand that maybe sometimes that's necessary. Pass the food to go for outdoors. This is over the door. The application is, it doesn't interfere with the escaping or getting out, and it also gives you that barrier. Again, my own opinion is that it's extreme. As you can see, I have the bandana when I'm in the kitchen. I'm cooking them around anybody else. Right now, I'm just with Frank. That's all. We're taking a look. We're going to show you post-COVID. Let's continue this. We have removed our kitchen table, so our seating capacity is going to be down at a third. We're thinking they're going to allow us to open up on a third capacity. Hopefully that's going to be good enough to do that, and because we're at half capacity. If they allow us half capacity, I think it's going to be basically, it's going to start at a lower capacity outside seating. Here, this has been removed. This is our kitchen table. There'll be no more intimate dining at Nataz, not between us and the staff and you. As you come down this way, this dining room is empty. We've taken this opportunity to use this dining room for staff dining, for a little bit, plenty of room for the staff. We keep social distancing, and we'll talk about that in the kitchen afterwards, but this is another dining room that is ixnayed on the open and schnay. This is a tour I never had before. I told it. This is our bathrooms. We're going into post-COVID, and you can see if you take a look in here, you come in here, it's always been a policy of Nataz. It's always been our policy. If we had to tell somebody to wash their hands, I would never hire them in the first place in an interview. I ask a lot of trick questions. It's always common sense in this business. If we weren't doing that pre-COVID, I wouldn't mind. But so a lot of the things that are being introduced now are something that we already do. Our bathrooms. Well, I'm standing in the bathroom talking to you, which is probably a little bit more intimate than I want to be, but is every time a patron uses the bathroom, we have somebody that's going to be manned, because people need jobs, right? So they're going to be here to disinfect in between usage. So the doorknobs, the handles, everything in here be sprayed down with the spray. I'm going to show you what we're using for a microbial killer. And it's not just bleach by any stretch. Hello, and this is our next hostess station. Again, I had that COVID N95 mask that Nick made. This is the hostess station. This is where you're going to be. The host will be. You may get some guidance to where your table number is when you come in, but you will not get like an interpersonal hugs. Hey, how you doing? None of that's going to happen post-COVID. We love you too, but at a 6 feet distance, virtual hugs, whatever we got to do. This will be where you call in. You're going to have centralized people taking the orders for Southington, Clinton, and here. Again, opening Southington and Clinton after we train the staff here in Brantford and get it down pat how it's going to look post-COVID. Post-COVID is the name of this video. Like and subscribe on the button down below. Please, we appreciate your love and your patience with us. We really look forward to feeding you again. Call in, pre-order, prepay, everything's all set. You get to the table, there should be very little discussion. We're going to make it simple, we're going to make it good. Post-COVID, so just to give you some examples of where we're going with how we're going to open and how we're going to keep you safe and keep our staff safe. In closing, the day before we closed the Sunday before the state told us that it was going to be done. We closed the 2 satellites, both Clinton and Southington, we closed because I was overlooking after all the talk. I was looking at the dining room and one of my waitresses had left. She was very cautious and she wasn't comfortable with waiting Saturday night, so she left the shift. And we were still really full capacity on Saturday night. And I was looking at the customers and I was thinking about like the canary in the gold mine. What happens if one of my workers actually going out there, even though customers were willing to come out? And I really took a conscious look at that, and that's why I said I was done until we figured out what was really occurring. I didn't want to stay open because of a couple dollars, or even if the workers wanted me to stay open, I wasn't going to put them at risk because of financial needs. So here's what it's going to look like post-COVID. The upstairs dining room for parties that we use, that won't be used. That won't be used. We have one dining room in Branford that we're going to use, and I'll show you that in a couple seconds. But a couple of different things you're going to need to know. You got to pre-order. You got to call up our host station, which will be manned by Tasha and some of the best verbal people, communications, one of them not being me, but people that can actually communicate effectively, and you will put your order, they'll guide you through the options for the night. You'll know what you're ordering before you come in. So it's a little bit more difficult. No menus. There'll be no menus pasted on the table. There'll be no wine openers given on the table. Once we put something on the table, it's disinfected, we're gonna leave it at that. Now, all this can change. I don't want to be severe. My daughter said, Dad, you're being extreme. I'm just wanting to open up and feed you. So here's the thing. For the $35 price fix and the amount of people I got coming out, you're going to have to order before you come in. There'll be no payments taken on premises. There'll be no walk-ins off the streets on premises. When you come in, you'll know a number. You'll be kind of guided to your table a little bit, like I'm doing with the camera. You'll be shown in a direction that your numbered table will be. It'll be in plain view. You'll know your table and who's coming to that table. The only people coming to that table are going to be your patrons, the people you're comfortable with eating with. Plenty of space, and I'm going to have her pan out and take a look at that right now. So we'll approach the table, no bread baskets, no communal stuff, nothing communal, nothing at all. Your wine opener, you have to bring your own soda or cold beverages. There will be ice in a covered bucket on the table. Ice that's disinfected in a covered bucket that's also sterilized. As we approach the table, we come down with service. We'll be doing coffee service also because it's hot. Everything's disinfected, everything's been, and then you pick it up and bring it to your table. It's more like a wedding, right? Except closer to table service, just from my understanding. So again, you have a table that's separating you bring the stuff, and then the customer takes it from there. The entrees, same thing, you come up with the entrees, you come to the table, pre-ordered from what I originally discussed, pre-ordered, prepaid, pre-service charge, everything's all set before you come out. You don't have to worry about a bill or any add-ons, you already know what you're getting. Nothing communal, no communal, no. Can you get me the hot sauce, anything like that? It's just not going to happen. There's no communal stuff to be used in the restaurant, unfortunately, at this point. That's what I believe we're going to be doing, and we'll, as it continues to unveil, we're going to continue to keep as much as we can to keep contact and to keep distance. So that's the two things we're looking at. We bring the entrees, we put it down to pre-ordered. You got 3 filet mignons and you have 1 halibut. You need to know who's getting what, because we're not going to know who ordered what at each table. There'll be no communication unless it's an emergency issue. And at that point, we've got to look at some other thing, 911, and let them deal with the emergency issue, just so we know. That's the best I can give you for our post-COVID. We'll keep you up to date. If some things changes, we'll do another posting on that. So these are the masks that were manufactured by my future son-in-law up in Manchester. It has the N95 filter inside it, take it out. It's kind of genius of them. You should replace the filter. I don't know if you can clean it or not, but you can definitely replace it with the filter. So you always have that's not really touching the mask, and if you're breathing in and out, just think it's great. So these are going to be issued to the work staff. That being said, I want to talk a little bit about the solution.
the fact that we're able to work and feed people has made us feel very, they call it essential, or I think it's just really being, being neighborly. We're our brother's keepers. We're supposed to be taken care of. I would never be in this business if it wasn't that I cared. The fact that we're doing these videos is difficult. At first it was just, we're trying it out, and now we're really seeing that people enjoy it. And it's bringing them like a sense of, like we're getting feedback, and you know, somebody mentioned about using gloves when I was butchering fish, and then somebody else said, you don't need to do that when you're butchering your fish because it's going to be cooked. Listen, we're open to anybody's, and we understand that people at this point, they're worried. Everybody's got these sound bites that they're using. The one thing I want you to know is that, and I think the most important thing I want you to know is that we don't know. Nobody knows. And anybody in a restaurant, if 3 restaurants closed, you can imagine how fucking nervous I am and my staff. People lost their jobs, man. They're not coming back. I want to take them back, but I don't know. Is everybody we're going to fill this room again? I would hope, oh, it's all going to come back. Maybe someday we can. Today we can't. And that's an acceptance, and I think we all have to accept that we're in a different place. And that we have to open, and everybody has to work. Not because I'm greedy or anything like that. We have to work because that's what we do. And that's not a political soundbite because I'm apolitical. I just always have been. You know, the bottom line, you want to know my political, I voted for Barack Obama and Donald Trump. So I really don't care politically. What I care about is my fellow people like yourself and my customers that want some normalcy. And we're able to do that by doing the meals at home. This is going to make you happy, going to make me happy. These little masks, some gloves, and some social distancing. The tables in front of the table, if that's extreme, okay, man, I'm extreme, but I've always been extreme. Not only are we going to do this, we're going to do it right. We're going to do. Somebody will come back. This isn't a fucking prize fight, man. This is people's livelihood, and it's my passion. And I've been doing a really good job with that. We're going to show you some other videos, we're going to do some other things, but you need to know, you come out to Nataz, I've always taken the precautions. The rest is just smoke and mirrors, man. We've always taken the precautions not to get you sick. We know purveyors can possibly give us potentially bad product. We clean it on the back. We'll show you what we're going to do in the back, how we clean off the product before we bring it in, because we don't trust anybody, not with your health and your safety. Now that may sound, again, like a sound bite, and I want your customers to come back. I know it's never going to be back where it was. I just want to feed people. That's what I've always done. Otherwise, it wouldn't be $12 for a meal to go at home, and it wouldn't be $35 with no liquor license for dinner, with prime beef and fresh flown-in seafood from all over the world. It would be more like $60 a person. And anybody that's eaten here knows that I'm not just making up numbers. So let's take a look at the kitchen. Come on, we'll go back in the kitchen and take a look at what we're doing. So post-COVID at our dish station, we find this to be the most vital spot. All workers back here, masks, clean, hung, the uniforms are, they have a whole changing room downstairs that all uniforms come in, they're disinfected and covered, almost like a scrubs would be in a hospital. Not like it, almost identical, except they're whites. The change here, before they come in the kitchen, if I back up and show you, I'll show you, if you back up a little bit here, spray off the bottom of their feet with a bicrobial. So I'll show you the bicrobial. They spray their feet off at the spray station before they even walk in with their shoes. Nobody's allowed anywhere in the kitchen or back in any of the employee sections back here for any circumstances. So the employees are going to be geared in our no street clothes, in our uniforms that are covered and plastic wrapped individual to each employee. The N95 mask, a set of gloves, and they work in stations. So we have the dishwasher. This is his room. Nobody comes in this room except the person bringing the dishes back to here. Then the dishwasher will take it. So we keep the 6-foot distance even in the kitchen. Just FYI, in case somebody wants to know. Throughout this video in the kitchen, you'll see these little red buckets. These little red buckets are a bicrobial. In other words, it's done with peroxide, and it kills the neurovirus, it kills the coronavirus, it kills all the flu, influenza, everything. And this is where it's at up here. If you take a look for it, it's a peroxide multi-surface container. It's concentrated here. We fill up these jugs. If you come on this way.
So with our arsenal of the microbials, we hope, and I think that this is, I've checked, I'll keep checking. I'm not I'm not even trying to pretend that I'm a CDC worker or that I know, what kills what. This is what I've been given, the latest product. Does it kill the coronavirus? I was told it does. We let it sit 5 minutes at the end of the shift. We spray down every part of the kitchen, every element, anything we touch with our hands, which are in gloves, right? So everything we touch with our hands, let it sit 5 minutes, come back, wipe it up. At night, our routine is we spray everything, let it sit the whole night. And we come back in the morning, we spray as if somebody came in and infected it. So this is what we're doing. Every element, when I touch this, right? We know, so we spray it like that, we spray this like this, and we let it sit. Come back in the next morning, the next day, we spray it again, let it sit, come back after we get our coffee, right? We get our coffee, 5 minutes later, at the beginning of the shift, we wipe it down. Once we wipe it down, and again, while we're doing this, the staff has the gloves, and they have their N95 mask in the kitchen. This is how they'll be working, and everybody has their station, which is 6 feet apart, from this station to the other stations in the kitchen. They keep social distancing, nobody gets together, nobody's working on top of each other in my kitchen. That being said, at the end of the shift, we spray down every spot like we showed you, every handle, anywhere that you touch, table, we let it sit overnight, when we come back in, we spray again. I can't emphasize enough about these red buckets. What you're going to find in these red buckets is the same solution in here to wipe down in between prep stations. So that while they're prepping, they're always wiping down the handles, the utensils, everything previous to cutting boards. Is it edible? It's peroxide based, so it's not a bleach based. So the peroxide based product, I know that it's food safety certified. So I would just say that this is not a chemical that I would ingest, but I think that it's food, it's safe to be able to use around food. That's all I know. That's what's been told to me. If you want to check me and tell me I'm wrong, it's not bleach. These buckets will also be filled up. So again, now that being said, when I go is back to old school. Now if you look very carefully in my kitchen, I'm going to show you. Hand out over here, you're going to see a hand washing sink. Every station, pan over here and watch. We're not but 6 feet away. This is my personal sink for me, the chef. Behind you is the other one for my Grand Manger. If you follow me, my meat station has a hand washing sink. So within a 10-foot radius, the dish station has their own hand washing sink. The waitress station has their own hand washing sink. I have 7 hand washing sinks and 1, 2, 3 in the bathrooms. So 7, 8, 9, 10 hand washing sinks, 10 rolls of every shift. The first thing that Deidre does is she replenishes all the soaps, which are, again, microbial soap, right? The bacteria. We check everybody in the kitchen. Before they walk in, they spray off their shoes, we check their hand. We want to make sure everybody's on the same page. Nobody, no staff member, under any circumstances, comes to work not feeling 150%. Dizziness, anything. And there's no retribution, nothing. As a matter of fact, I probably give them something for free. Like, if they're sick and I do not want them in the premises, I'll reward them for not coming in. That's always been my policy. Other than that, I have one more aspect to talk about food, okay? About food safety. We have cases upon cases of gloves. Again, during my videos, I will not be using a mask or a glove, okay? But all my staff members at any point in time walk into the kitchen will be using gloves. And now, this is where you enter with all the food products through this overhead door. Example, you have cases of peeled tomatoes here. Before these tomatoes come into the kitchen, we spray this down with that same microbial and let it sit for 15 minutes out here on the dock. It doesn't come in the restaurant until it's sprayed off. We spray off and bleach this dock every single night with a power washer. Once you come in here again, anybody coming in from outside again has to spray off their feet. I know it sounds paranoid. I'd rather be paranoid than get somebody sick, and that's my intention, no matter what. I want to open up, yeah, I want to open up yesterday, but if it means getting other people sick or something, I don't want to open up. But when I can only reassure you this. I want to be the guy that everybody else says, this is what he's doing, so we want to do that. That's all I got to say.